Hello and welcome to this session of Spoken English for Non-Native Speakers. We have had two very interesting sessions. And today, in the third session, I'll introduce you to the soul of this program. Yes, my friends, we will be talking about the techniques today. There are some presentations which are still required to be made. We will be working through those presentations eventually. But today, I'll introduce you to three very interesting techniques. I request my learned participants to kindly mute themselves because today's class is extremely important. I cannot emphasize enough on how important this class is. Request to all of you to kindly mute your mics. Request to all of you to kindly mute your mics. Look, if my mute button for the gross muting of all had been working, then I wouldn't have requested each one of you. I would have muted you from my side. But since that is causing some bugs, I request all of you to mute your mics. So we are going to do something very interesting today. I will introduce you to three techniques. Of course, of those three techniques, we will just be doing one. We will be doing one in the sense I will be demonstrating that technique to you. And you, from this day onwards, will practice that technique till the very end of this course. What are those techniques? I will talk about them later. But first, let's say hello to our learned participants. Here we go. Okay, there we are. Now, I cannot say hello to each one of you, but a selected few for sure. All right, Kirti, good evening.
Yes, good evening, sir.
How are you doing?
Sir, I'm good. And today I had a bad day because there was a rat that was killed in my section, and
Oh,
its foul smell filled up in my mind. So it makes me so made me so irritated, and I'm just I even I'm feeling
giddy even now. You're still
same.
feeling bad.
Yes,
Okay.
still feeling bad. Yes.
I quite understand, such problems do happen at times. And unfortunately, our arrangements for making things clean, of keeping things clean, isn't very profound, aren't very profound. And that is why we often have such issues which should not happen. But anyway, now you're back home, back in your sweet home, and I hope that the problem will not be bothering you much. And as we practice the exercises today, of course, you participants will not have to practice it. I'll be doing the practice. I will be demonstrating the method. You will be there. Okay. All right. Hello, Sanjay. Hello, Sanjay Kumar. How are you? You're joining for the first time, I believe. Hello, Sanjay. Sanjay, unmute your mic now.
Hello, good evening, sir.
Hello. How are you doing?
Hello, good evening, sir.
Good evening. So,
Hello, everyone.
I'm very happy that you have joined the course. You were not there yesterday or day before yesterday, but welcome to the course anyway. I hope that
Thank you, sir.
you gain good insights into English communication, and I can promise you that if you stay put, if you persevere, you will certainly be having a very high level of spoken English, regardless of where your English stands today. You will be speaking great English 6 months from now, subject to the condition that you stay put, subject to the condition that you persevere. And when the classes eventually get a little boring, and they will get boring, of course, because we'll be doing the same stuff repeatedly, one has to persevere. It is that dullness which creeps in the middle of the training program that one has to live up to. one has to live with. If one actually gives in to the dullness and gives up on the course, then that will be a sheer waste of the participants' time and the teacher's time, of course. So I urge all of you, and Sanjay, since you are joining today, I will request you also to stay with me till the very end, right? Thank you very
Thank
much
you.
for joining and welcome aboard.
Thank,
All
thank
right.
you. Thank you, sir.
Okay, right. Pallavi, hello. Pallavi. Hello, Pallavi. Pallavi, please come on the camera.
Hello, sir. Good evening.
Good evening. How are you?
Sir, I'm fine. How are you?
Absolutely fine. And I'm so happy to see you.
Yes,
Looking
sir. Actually,
vibrant,
sir,
energetic. Yes, tell me.
actually, sir, I'm today traveling. I'm going to my hometown. So my train is at 10 p.m. So
Oh, your train is at
actually,
10 p.m. Okay, so you will
so
be.
actually, uh,
So if your train is going to be at 10 p.m., then probably you will
mm,
not be able to focus fully on the class. But never
uh,
mind. As much as you can focus, do that,
yes,
right? Because today's class
okay,
is going to be very important. I'll be demonstrating one of the most essential techniques, one of the pillars of this training program. And
okay, sir.
happy journey and have a great time in your place, right? And no
Thank you,
doubt,
sir. Thank you.
no doubt you're beaming with such vibrance. You're so happy. You're going to meet your own people, right?
Yes, sir.
Going
Yes,
back
sir.
home. All right.
Yes, sir.
Wonderful. Thank you, Pallavi. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
All right. Sneha, good evening. Sneha,
Hello, sir. Good evening. Namaste.
namaste. So, you are here for the first time, right?
Yes, sir. Yes,
All
yes.
right. So, what prompted you to join this course?
Actually, I am very hesitant to speak English in front of someone, and I know how to write. I can understand everything, but at the time of speaking, I the word is very less to me to describe my things, which is in my mind but not in my mouth.
I understand, Sneha, but don't worry. Just persevere and you will speak great English. That is my promise to you, right? You have to stick on, right? If you stick on, if you stay with me till the very end, there is no force on earth that can prevent you from speaking great English. Already you sound good, and I'm sure with practice, your English will get that twang, will get that zing factor, right? It'll sound brilliant. It'll sound pep. You'll be able to speak in any manner you like. You can make your words sound peppy. You can make you can make your words sound um, orthodox. You would be able to make your words sound classically sweet. No matter which version of English you want to speak, you'll be able to speak that version of English with comprehensive ease, right? That is my promise to you. But you have to stick on. All right. Moving on now. Yes. Okay, just 1 second. Okay, fine. Right. Okay. Right. I'll say hello to one other participant, and then I'll introduce you to the techniques. Right. Manisha, good evening. How are you, Manisha?
Good evening, sir. I'm fine. How are you?
Absolutely fine, Manisha. So, how has been your day?
So it has been a bit hectic, like because most of the ASOs in my section were on leave today, so it was hectic.
It has been hectic. Yes, I understand. These days, the ministries are really running through um, a lot of difficult times because very often you find the people working on a plethora of issues, be it policy making, be it issues relating to the financials. So that's quite understandable, right? So welcome again, Manisha. I hope that you have great takeaways from today's session. All right. So with that said, thank you, Manisha. With that said, now I will be starting out with the techniques. Now, if you're wondering why am I starting out with the techniques so soon, Please recall that I told you that we would be having 100 odd classes. 100 odd classes. Now the classes could be 105, could be 110, or could be even more in number, and could even be less than 100. Depends upon how all of you make headway, how much time we need to cover essential grammar. If you don't remember what essential grammar is, let me give you a single liner of a recap. That essential grammar is that much of grammar which you need for speaking great English. You don't have to understand the whole of grammar to speak English. There's a lot of superfluous stuff that we do when we study English in schools and colleges. I'm not suggesting in the least that all that is bad, but then when it comes to speaking English, superfluous stuff do not come in handy. So that kind of grammar probably will not do you much good. But essential grammar, grammar that is absolutely relevant to, pertinent to what you are seeking to achieve, will do you a world of good, right? So let's see, what are these 3 essential techniques that we will be doing. Now remember, these 3 techniques are the pillars. In fact, two of these techniques are so important that if you do not do the rest of the course and you simply practice, you simply focus on these 2 techniques, probably you will still be speaking great English. And if you practice all these 3 techniques, which you should, then you will be speaking English like a pro without a trace of doubt. So do not shirk away from practicing these techniques in totality. If you do not show the kind of respect to these techniques, the kind of respect that these techniques merit, then probably you will not be serious about them and you will not be practicing them enough. I urge each one of you to take them seriously, take them as a matter of great need, so that by the time you finish this course, you are at the pinnacle of success, right? You will be riding the ship of English glory. So very happy to know that all of you are so enthusiastic. I will also request each one of you to keep this enthusiasm running till the very end. What happens is, during the middles of the training program, you might get bored. You might think, oh my goodness, the same technique is going to be practiced again. I'll have to run through the same rigors. The rigmarole of the training program is actually causing me so much of jitters, so much of pain I'm having to endure. But you got to endure that pain if you want your English to become great. If you want to be one of the foremost orators of this nation, if you want to earn fame and name for yourself, if you want to dominate the international forums, then endure that pain. If you endure that pain and you stay till the very end and you show the kind of regularity to this English training program that it really deserves, that it really merits, then you will be in a great position. You will be in an enviable position. And your perseverance, if you persevere with that kind of if you persevere like that, I tell you, it'll be very creditable. So I'm waiting for you to show your prowess, to show your patience, to actually demonstrate how serious you are to transform your personality. This is the best investment of time that you have made in life. Trust me, because this is going to transform your life altogether. By the time we finish this course, you will be somewhere. You will be somewhere exciting. You will be able to use this language just the way you want it. You will not be missing out on words that you would like to mutter when you are speaking in English. You will not be missing out on those wonderful idioms that make your English sound good. you will be a perfect master, right? Or let's say near perfect master, since nothing is perfect in the world. So please be ready. Now I'm going to tell you the secrets to great English mastery. Now, before I tell you the techniques, I also have to tell you this, that these techniques can be pretty intimidating. They can be pretty frightening, right? If after watching me demonstrate these techniques, you feel that it is not your cup of tea, you got to understand that it is that negative force of your mind that is giving all kinds of stupid suggestions to you. You can do what I'm going to demonstrate today, and do not chicken away from doing what I am going to show you now. Request to all the participants to mute their mics, please. Request to all the participants to mute their mics, please. Right? It doesn't present a pretty picture if you, or a or a or a pretty sound atmosphere when you keep your mic on and my videos get spoiled. That's another reason why you should cooperate. And in any case, who wants to hear such disturbing noises that actually distract? So they're so distracting. They're so bad for a class such as this one, where people are so intently listening to me, and I'm teaching you with all my experience and with the sincere intent of making you great English speakers. So please cut out such noises. Please show the kind of discipline that you ought to show over here. Another thing, I have said this before in the WhatsApp forum, the language that you use, right? The language that you use in your messages or when you speak has to be decent. It has to be very decent and civil. Do not say anything offensive or aggressive or something distasteful, right? That will not be accepted. Okay? But I'm sure all of you are intelligent, bright people, young, bright people, and that is the last thing I expect of you. And I'm sure none of you will do anything so uncouth. Moving ahead, now with the techniques, okay? I will be writing down a few things for you on a Word document. Now, when I put on the Word document, one of you will have to tell me, or maybe all of you can tell me together by unmuting your mic for that fraction of a second that you need to. Tell me whether you can see the screen. That you can see the screen. Here we go. Can all of you see a Microsoft Word?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes, sir.
done. Very good. Got your answer. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yes, sir.
Please mute your mics, all of you. Right. Now, this English training program that you are a part of has three main pillars. There are other supporting pillars, no doubt, but these three pillars are the source of strength, the greatest source of strength for this training program. And what are these pillars? The three techniques which magically transform your world of English. What are these three techniques? Excuse me for that. The first technique that we will discuss is spontaneous speech. Some people also call it spontaneous speech therapy because it's a kind of therapy. It has got therapeutic value. If you have speech difficulties, spontaneous speech may actually have a curative effect on that ailment, that affliction of yours. So spontaneous speech is crucial. It's very important that you understand that spontaneous speech is one of the pillars of this training program. I'm letting out the soul. I'm giving you the secrets right away on the third day. We are just about warming up, and still I am giving you the secrets. Why? Because this is not a commercially driven program. This is a program that has a genuine intent of instilling such great knowledge and skills in you that help you become pro speakers. So spontaneous speech is the first technique that we will be discussing. The other two techniques are, one is called listen, register, and repeat. This technique is also called, just give me a minute. Okay. Just a second. I'm sorry about this. I hope you can still see the Microsoft Word screen. Somebody say yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. So listen, register, and repeat. This technique, in short, is called shadowing. All over the world, this technique is called shadowing. Why is it called shadowing? Probably some of you know. Those of you who have seen me demonstrating this technique in a live class know what is shadowing. And probably when I was demonstrating this technique to you, and if you had the chance of doing it, probably I called you to demonstrate it before the class, or maybe do, or just to emulate me. And if you also got the chance of doing this technique in the class, then you might have realized how powerful this technique is. The powers of this technique will become even more evident. You will see all the powers getting unleashed as we move on. So shadowing is the second pillar. And the third pillar is coterie talk. What do we do in coterie talk? Well, we have 30 odd participants, although not all of you are here today, which is somewhat disappointing. I will make groups out of the participants, and it will be a lifelong commitment for the members of every group to speak in English and English alone with one another. You will not be allowed to speak in any language other than English within that group, within that coterie. Now, coterie system can be used in different ways. I have experimented by changing the coteries of the students. Sometimes I place them in different coteries. As time passes, I change the coteries, change the team members. But this time, I will be following the more orthodox system. I will not change the members of a given coterie for the next 6 months. Right? Please make it a point that you talk in English, you converse in English within the coterie. If you do not, I will not be there to see what you're doing. So whom will you be cheating? Who will you be cheating? Will you be cheating me? No, you will be cheating yourselves. After I make a coterie, and I make not one coterie, many coteries out of all the participants, the members of the coterie got to commit to themselves that they will be speaking in English with one another within that coterie for life, even after this training program gets over. And you have to do that truthfully, with genuineness. If you don't do that, you will be cheating yourselves. Do not cheat yourselves and do not cheat your teacher, right? If you can do, that is, practice these 3 techniques with utter sincerity, and you do what I ask you to do, trust me, you will be somewhere. You will be somewhere great. Let's understand what is spontaneous speech. Here we go. What is done in spontaneous speech? Number 1, it's very simple. In spontaneous speech, the participant is given a topic to speak on. It can be any topic on earth. The topic could be from pure sciences, could be from engineering, could be from aeronautics, space science, could be from e-commerce, could be from e-marketing, could be from the world of painting, from the world of music, could be something to do with geographical locations like the Thar, like the Kalahari Desert, like the beautiful greenery of the Congo forests. Could be the wonderful scenic beauty of the Chandratal. It could be any topic on earth from anywhere. Sorry, I made a mistake. It could be any topic available in the universe. And please appreciate, infinite topics are available. So you could be given a topic like, all right, the red pen that I purchased when I was 6 years old. That could be one topic. One topic could be, the day custard fell on my lap. Or the topic could be, the latest papers on Schrodinger's equation. Or the topic could be, the Achilles tortoise race in Zeno's paradox. Or the topic could be, Dr. William Beaumont's research on digestive system. Or the topic could be, the stars are falling from the sky. So you understand, the topic can be logical, the topic can be bizarre, the topic can be anything that you could pull out from the universe. Of course, the topic should not be a vulgar one, right? The topic must not be a sickening one. The topic must not be one that is indicative of the perversion in the mind of the topic giver. Such topics will not be entertained, right? Every other topic is admissible. You could give me any topic available, any topic that you can think of, and I can give you any topic that I can think of. Civility, subject to the conditions of civility and discipline, right? Civility is most important. All right. So a topic is given to the participant, and the participant begins to speak right away. And the participant will have to speak for 6 minutes on the trot. There is no scope for stopping, dear friends. Once the topic is given, the person concerned will have to begin to speak, and speak for 6 minutes without stopping, right? So that is the first point. If you're wondering how that is possible to do, I will talk about that a little later. So the participant, let me remove this. Okay. The participant is given a topic to speak on. The moment the topic is given, let me reduce the size of this font a little, or maybe the display a little. You will still be able to see. There you are. So the participant is given a topic to speak on. The moment the topic is given, the participant will have to begin to speak on the topic. He or she must not spend even a fraction of a second to think what he or she would be speaking. Number 2, the participant's speech will continue for 6 minutes on the trot. There is no scope for stopping in between. You have to speak and speak and speak and speak and Speak. Nothing else but speak. Right? Now, the participant can speak in incorrect English. He or she will not be conscious of the kind of English he or she is speaking. All inaccuracies and errors in speech and delivery of ideas are acceptable. Right? This is the third point. Fourth point is, do not bother about what the fellow participants are going to think about you. Speak freely. Speak freely. Do not bother about what the fellow participants are going to think about you. You might think that, oh my gosh, I'll be speaking such bad English. Right? My English is so poor and I'll be speaking such bad English. What will others think about me? What will my co-learners think about me? What will my teacher think about me? All those stupid ideas need to be banished. By the way, today we are going to linger beyond the 1.5 hour mark. We may go up to 10:30 just for today, since I'm demonstrating the technique, right? From tomorrow, of course, we will go back to our typical 1.5 hour session duration. Today it'll be more than 1.5 hours. So do not bother about what the fellow participants are going to think about you. Just speak and speak and speak and speak. Number 4. The practitioner, that is the participant, is allowed to digress from the topic. However, he or she must make a conscious effort to get back to the topic as soon as possible. You can digress, but do make a conscious effort to get back to the topic. If you have been asked to speak on e-commerce, for example, right? Say e-commerce with regard to garments on the internet. You could be speaking on that topic and you probably will not be comfortable at all times speaking on that topic. So you will be allowed to digress, my friend. You could go hither and thither. You can go here and there. You can go to the top or get down to the bottom. You may go east or west or north or south, or the northeast or the northwest, wherever, southeast, southwest, okay? But as soon as possible, you have to come back to the center. That is, you have to come back to the topic. If you can, that is. If you're finding it very difficult to come back to the topic, well, continue speaking what you are speaking. That is how you have to deal with spontaneous speech. Now, there could be times when you will not get any idea, because the conscious mind always prevents beautiful ideas to come to the surface. The subconscious mind begets beautiful ideas which do not come to the surface of the conscious mind, because the conscious mind can sometimes act as a foe, can act as an enemy. And because the conscious mind can act as an enemy, you have to make sure that this enmity is properly dealt with. Do not break the speech, even if you have run out of ideas. If you have run out of ideas, all you have to do is to say, nothing is striking me, 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 and so on, till something strikes you. All right? So, if the participant has run out of ideas, he or she must say, what he or she must say? Nothing is striking me. Nothing is striking me. And so on, till something strikes him or her. Last but not least, no matter what, do not ever stop speaking. That is spontaneous speech for you. Let me reduce the display size so that you can see the whole of it, right? So I've written down these points for you, and all these points will be available to you after the class. They will be placed on the forum, on the WhatsApp group. So what is done? A participant is given a topic to speak on, and the participant will have to begin to speak on that topic. The topic could be logical, the topic could be bizarre, the topic could be anything from the universe, or maybe anything from beyond the universe, right? No matter what the topic is. The topic could be about the Catholics in Austria. The topic could be the kangaroos in Australia. The topic could be the little fine pale dot in the Eastern Hemisphere. Or the topic could be something like, when I watched a Bedouin striking a nail into a camel hoof. So anything is possible. Any kind of topic can be given. No restrictions. All right? Please keep this in mind. From tomorrow onwards on the WhatsApp group, you will get one topic to speak on: the spontaneous speech. If you want me to listen to how you have, how you have performed, you can record that speech and send it to me. And if you are gutsy enough, you can record it and post it on the forum. I know it's not a very comfortable feeling for you. And to tell you the truth, I'm also not feeling very comfortable. Do you know why? Because now I'll have to demonstrate spontaneous speech. Look, my fingers are kind of trembling. I don't know what kind of topic you're going to give me. What if you fix me up? What if you fix me up? And should I say, like Spider-Man, the way, not the Spider-Man, the way the mask imploded before the policeman? What are you going to do to me, officer? What are you going to do to me? That's exactly what I'm going to say to all of you. What are you going to do to me, participants? What are you going to do to me? What kind of a ghastly topic are you going to give me now? Trembling. I can sense the chill moving up my spine. I have this giddiness in my mind, and I can feel every cell of my body actually shivering with the strain and with the tension, and I can actually gauge the cytoplasmic activity gradually coming to a knot, and all the other vital processes that are required for the survival of a human being have gone for a toss. Oh, what are you going to do to me, participants? Let's see what you do to me. Let's go ahead. Let me stop the presentation. It is time. It is time for my demonstrating spontaneous speech. Now, one thing. When I demonstrate spontaneous speech to you, it is not with a view to show how well I can do it. I have been practicing it for years and years and years and years together. So do not think of doing it like me. You could be doing it better than I right away. I'm not suggesting that you cannot do it like me. You can do it 100 times better than I. Right? But the point is, when I am demonstrating spontaneous speech, it is purely with the intent of showing to you, demonstrating to you what is to be done. What are you supposed to do? It is not with the intent of showing off. And what do I need to show off to all of you? Right? You young, vibrant souls, you are here to learn, right? I'm sure you will not harbor any such idea that your teacher is actually trying to make a show of things. No, I never make show of things. I'm doing things simply with the intent of improving your English. If you do what I ask you to do, nothing can stop you. You will be far ahead of I as well. All right, so now I'm ready to take the topic and demonstrate to you spontaneous speech. I can take 3 or 4 topics, though it's not going to be easy for me. And you can see how nervous I'm getting. Oh my goodness, so nervous. Look at the sweat. See, what have you done to me? Don't you have any compassion in your heart? Very sad. Okay, friends. So who's going to give me the topic? Who is going to give me the topic? Come on, you can unmute and speak now. Don't be afraid. You can give me a hard topic. I'll not be taking a revenge from you. Trust me.
Okay, sir, I will. Pranjal here.
Okay, Pranjal.
Hello,
Okay.
sir. And your topic is nothing.
Nihilism, they say, is the equation of universe because nihilism is nothingness. When Descartes at one point of time said that I think that is why I exist, perhaps he was hinting at an idea that nothing exists because somethingness is nothingness. It is a proven fact, and scientists know it inside out, that when they delve deep into the heart of matter, all they end up seeing is space. Well, probably first you will hit at the elementary particles. And when you go deeper into the interiors of those elementary particles, you'll find waves. And beyond those strings of waves, you find nothing. You find these microspaces. So when these microspaces come together, how do they form matter at grosser levels is difficult to understand. So is it nothingness that gives rise to somethingness? And is it somethingness that gives rise to nothingness? This is something that is absolutely not understandable from a scientific perspective and also from a philosophical perspective. People say that consciousness is actually the primal factor and all the other things that you see around you are nothing but manifestations of consciousness. But the truth is, if that is the case, then how is it that we find strains of consciousness generating biological processes happening inside the body? How do we see all these DNA replications happening, these chromosomal phenomena happening? And when food is in scarcity, we see these lysosomal actions happening inside the cells. Now, if we are to believe that, okay, fine, consciousness results from the activities happening inside the body, then how do you explain the NDEs? So 2 contradictory situations are alive in the world of science. And probably what appear to be contradictory are not contradictory. They are one and the same thing. The perspective of looking at the things changes. That's how somethingness and nothingness may be one and the same thing. You feel that nothingness is different from somethingness. And when we talk about somethingness, we talk about matter and energy and the other things that might be agglomerations of matter and energy. But when we talk about empty space, we probably talk about areas which are bereft of such things. Things means energy and matter. Now, if these elements which actually come together to generate consciousness do not exist in empty space, how do we say disembodied consciousness exists? And disembodied consciousness has been spoken about by our Rishikas and Rishis since time immemorial. Are we not to place our trust in our sacred texts? Do you think that what is written in Kathopanishad or Isopanishad has got no scientific value? If that is the case, then why do we find so many CERN scientists picking up their cues from these texts? Then probably we'll have to attach weight to what is there in our sacred scriptures. But if our sacred scriptures are to be believed in, then how do we deny the fact that it appears from certain physical experimentations that it is matter that is generating energy and consciousness? So which part of this existence is nothingness and which part of this existence is somethingness? If nothingness is somethingness and somethingness is nothingness, then why is it not very clear from the perspective of the six senses that we have? I know I've spoken about the six senses, not the five senses, because the six senses, which is the ESP, is also considered to be a sense. Having said that, what is ESP? ESP is not the direct resultant of any of the five senses that we talk about. Now, this ESP exists concurrently with the remaining five senses, and some of the best minds in science, people like Dr. William Beaumont, people like Dr. Dwayne Doherty, and so many others have said that what you think is actually not existent from a biological perspective actually exists somewhere. It probably is existing at an abstract level, which appears abstract at this point of time, but eventually as science grows and we get to understand things better and we have a better appreciation of the world around us, we will probably understand that those two are not contradictory factors and they are actually complementary factors. If they are complementary factors, then when you say that it is nihilism that is ruling the roost, probably I will not be incorrect in saying that nihilism is nothing but an offshoot of absolutism. Now, that is probably the reason why we have the Zeno's paradox of motion in place. When we say that movement is impossible in this world, and any kind of movement that happens goes against the concepts of limits and continuity, and because movements happen, it is probably an indication of the possibility that nothing exists. All that appears to be existing is nothing than a larger dream. And if that is true, then why do we feel that we exist? Probably because this feeling of existence is nothing but just a false perception. It is nothing but a mirage. It is just an illusion. So if this is an illusion, then it stands proved that nihilism is nothing but absolutism in disguise. And absolutism is nothing but nihilism in disguise. So when we talk about the processes of involution and evolution, we are talking about the same thing. When we talk about the Sakara and Nirakara, we are talking about the same thing. When we are talking about the electron and the positron, we are talking about the same thing. When we are talking about this one universe and two universes or multiple universes, we are talking about the same thing. And that way, when we are talking about absolutism, we are talking about nothingness. So that is nothingness for you. Dear Pranjal, my time is over. Thank you very much. If you are clapping, you can unmute yourself and then clap. You can unmute yourself and clap for me. Pranjal, I hope I have done justice to your topic, okay?
Absolutely, sir.
Okay, thank you so much. Okay, so who's going to be the next person to give me the topic? By the way, I do not have any sart gat with Pranjal. Pranjal and I had not planned it out before that he would be giving me this topic, right? I hope you trust me on that count. So who's the next person who's going to give me the topic for spontaneous speech? Anyone? Just 1 second, let me set the timer. Yes, who's going to give me the topic now? First, give me the name and then give me the topic. Please mute yourselves, friends. Please mute yourselves. Mute yourselves.
Sir, I want to give.
Nitesh Prasad. Nitesh wants to give. Nitesh?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
First, you throw this certification around to your friends that I don't have any pact with you, my dear friend. Tell them
No,
that
no,
I
no
have
pact with sir.
no pact exists. Okay, fine. Okay,
Yes, sir.
all right, all right. Yes, what is your topic? Go ahead.
Sir, my topic is Martians are living in between us.
Well, when you see the pyramids in Egypt, what do you think? That humans have made it? When you see the Machu Picchu civilization where boulders were carried to the Andes mountain, do you think that humans have been doing it? There is a clear case of levitation happening somewhere in some part of the universe. And some people believe, like Eric von Daniken, who have also written in books such as The Chariots of Fire and The Gods of the Netherlands. They have said things such as there have been people coming from outer spaces who have been touched with the people at the helm of affairs. In fact, when you see these UFOs, the reports of these UFOs, people think that there is some kind of a secret understanding between the powerful governments of the world and the aliens of outer space. And Martian, being what Martians are, can logically be the only aliens who we can interact with, because the planets beyond Mars are all liquid planets. They are gaseous blobs. You cannot probably land on Jupiter because you will sink in. You'll just be moving into the deep clouds, the dense clouds, and you probably cannot land on Saturn for the same reasons. So the rocky planets are only up to Mars. The rocky planets are the Mercury and the Venus and the Earth and the Mars. So we probably can have aliens from Mercury or from Venus or from Mars. Now, let me tell you this very clearly, that there are very clear understandings, there are very clear explicit writings and literature on this subject, which suggests that Martians have been in touch with human beings. And I'm not joking. I'm not cooking this up. There are ideas that are very, very prevalent, and there are people who have this habit of saying that the powerful governments have pacts with these Martians, and these theories are often called the conspiracy theories. Why do they say that? They say that because at the time when Egyptians, about say 15,000 or 20,000 years back, when they made the pyramids, the pyramid of Khafu in particular, and the Khafre also, they couldn't have made those pyramids because they didn't have that technology. The primitive technology was below par. They couldn't probably have taken the boulders to such a height. So what made it possible for the boulders to reach such heights? In some of the Hollywood movies of the yesteryears, in 1930s and 1940s, they used to show that people were taking those boulders up. And in fact, a particular race which considered itself superior to the natives were forcing the natives, were doing all kinds of bad things. They were perpetrating atrocities upon the natives so that the natives could be forced to take those boulders up to the top of the pyramid. But such a system, such an arrangement is not possible as we understand today, because the geometry of the pyramids does not support that. And why talk about the pyramids alone? I just spoke about the Andes mountain ranges a while back. Go and watch the Machu Picchu civilization. How could such weighty boulders be taken to such a height? And mind it, those boulders couldn't have been taken from the heights because such boulders do not exist at such height. So when you go to Machu Picchu, and when you even take a look at the Inca civilization in its totality, you do realize that the primitive technology that was available to those people couldn't have been developed indigenously. There might have been some kind of a contribution coming from extraterrestrials. And if extraterrestrials actually contributed to the making of these structures, if extraterrestrials were actually responsible for building up the technologies that they roosted upon, then it probably would be foolhardy to completely deny that Martians do not exist. The Martians might have moved. There are other theories as well. Since you have spoken about Martians, probably it's a good idea to talk about the Venetians as well. There are canals in Venus, canals that have been discovered, and some scientists feel that such canals, such circuitry, such networks couldn't have existed because of, couldn't have got formed because of natural forces. They might have had some kind of an artificial intelligence working behind them. And such artificial intelligence might have worked for certain structures that we get to see on planet Mars itself. You would be surprised to know, but there are two particular structures, and I spoke about this when I demonstrated spontaneous speech in the class as well. that one structure looks like a pyramid and the other structure looks like a face. Of course, when you go close to the structure, all those ideas get dismantled in the sense that the structures in their microscopic form do not look like a human face or a pyramid. But maybe they were intended to be made in such a way so that if you see them from a bird's eye perspective, you would see them as a pyramid or as a human face. So Martians probably did have connections with human beings in the yesteryears, in the times which we consider to be primitive. Probably during these primitive times, as Eric von Daniken would have us believe, they needed this technology to survive because our agricultural output was dismal. Those civilizations thrived which grew close to the rivers, and we didn't have too many water bodies which could act as buffer zones for the human civilizations, for the human races. Then we see a very strange phenomenon happening. The human civilizations do not just develop across the peripheries of these rivers. We find them developing and, in fact, burgeoning, beaming, even in the interior parts of the land masses. How could that have become possible? How could they have gotten water from the river coast, from the coast of the oceans to the deepest interiors, the deepest recesses of those land masses? Probably some kind of technology was at work, a technology that is still unknown to us. And why is it unknown to us? Because that technology, my dear friends, does not belong to us. Probably that belongs to Martians. Thank you very much. My time is over. Okay, I hope I have done justice to your topic. Nitesh. Have I been able to do justice to your topic, Nitesh?
Yes, it was just amazing.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Mind blowing.
Thank you so
Mine was-
much. I haven't got my due share of claps. Please unmute yourselves and give your teacher some claps. Okay. All right. Don't be stingy with the claps. Okay. You may not clap for me, but when your friends demonstrate, you have to clap. Okay. Who's going to give me the next topic for spontaneous speech? And this is the final topic, by the way, because thereafter I'll have to tell you a few things. And again, for goodness sake, do not think I have any sadgat with any of you, right? Go ahead. Who's going to give me the next topic? Who's going to give me the next topic? Okay. Sneha is going to give me the next topic. Let me set the clock.
Trust.
One
Sir,
second.
trust.
One second, dear. 1 second. Let me set the clock first. And probably this gap will also help me relax my throat muscles a little, okay?
Yes, sir.
All right. All right, Sneha, go ahead. What is your topic?
Sir, trust.
What? Trust. T-R-U-S-T.
Yes.
Trust deficiency is one factor that has been plaguing human relationships since time immemorial. We talk about trust and we don't quite understand what is trust. Is trust something which has to do with the belief systems? Is trust our faith? Or is trust some kind of a blind conviction in some idea which could be extremely illogical per se? Now, we do not know what trust is, but we still talk about trust. Now, let's understand this first, that we have to understand trust from a divine perspective, or what you may call the ethereal perspective, and we have to understand trust from a material perspective. Let's talk about the divine perspective of trust. Now, Sri Aurobindo, in chapter 11 of Live Divine, says that it is the trust of the Satchid Anand which caused him to have a fun game with himself. And he said, Aham Bahu Asmi, and he divided himself into many. Now, is that the kind of trust that we are talking about? Certainly not. And why should there be trust in one becoming many? He had trust because even after fractionating, he knew that he would essentially be one. It is that unfailing, unflinching trust in the self-consciousness. And some people believe that is the only consciousness existing in the world. That is the only primal consciousness that we have in the universe. So that primal consciousness obviously will be trusting itself because it is not being guided by any other factor in the universe. So the trust factor over there is 100% because it has to trust only in its own propensities, and it knows its propensities well. So therefore, the trust factor will be infallible over there. Now, when the consciousness gets fractionated and we see the reverse process of consciousness actually building up, it's interesting to tell you here that Charles Darwin in his organic evolution theory, did speak about trust and also said that as organisms grew in complexity, they developed social virtues such as faith in God and trust. So trust is actually an offshoot of evolution. If it has to be something, if it is something to do with evolution, then we have to understand this, that it is the evolution of the fractionated parts of the Brahman, the Supreme Brahman. And in the reverse process, in the trust of getting back into its own original shape, there happen trust deficiencies. Why are there trust deficiencies in relationships? Probably because relationships are steeped deep and probably steeped neck high in the ideas of possessiveness. When you have an object, an inanimate object, you begin to think of the object as your own. When you have a person around you, could be your parents, could be your siblings, could be your partner, could be your friends, you tend to stake a claim on them and you begin to think that they belong to you. And the sense of possessiveness actually begins to afflict that relationship. What is a true relationship like? A true relationship would be one where there would be no trust deficit, because you would see your partner, you would see your siblings, you would see your parents, you would see your friends as emanations of your own. How can we actually have a system which is trustless proof? In order to have a system which has 100% trust, we have to have an ethereal system in place. So all I'm trying to tell you is some kind of a conduit has to exist between divinity and the material life. When the material beings realize that they ought to be reflecting the divine propensities and they are not to get lost in these parochial ideas of possessiveness and the stupidities of owning something, probably they will have more trust in themselves and they'll have more trust in their partners and their friends and their family. Now, trust deficiency is happening at all places. You see all the public functioning, you see all the corporate functioning, you see all places of so-called scientific advancement. Go to an airport and they'll check you inside out. They'll try and find out. They'll try and see if you are carrying anything stupid with you, if you're carrying some ammunition with you. And probably they are justified as well, because we humans have failed ourselves. We have shown that we are capable of mass destruction. We are capable of making and using weapons against our own brethren. So if we have such evil propensities, if we are not divinely cleansed, how can somebody expect trust to be existing in human beings? Probably our psyche is not in sync with what you call trust. In order to have trust, you have to first cleanse your soul. You have to begin to understand that you are a divine organism. You are a divine entity. You are connected to that Parabrahman, and you probably should not be acting as a stupid person with such a narrow social view. But you do not act like that. As human beings, we have been acting in the most moronish way possible. If there were an alien, I was talking about aliens in my previous speech, if there were a Martian, and assuming that the Martian was extremely mature and extremely intelligent to understand what is good behavior and what is bad behavior, by looking at the human behavior from atop, he for sure would not find this behavior trustworthy or even worthy of being called civilized. We call ourselves civilized. Now, we are not civilized because we cannot trust one another. Trust factor is missing in every relationship, be it a mini relationship, be it a gross relationship. It could be an independent intelligence in action. It could be a gross intelligentsia in action. No matter what takes over the world, there is always this lack of trust happening, lack of trust existing. Why so? Because all we want to do is to bring the booties to ourselves, and we do not think about our brethren at all. And because we think about ourselves alone, because we act with such buffoonery so as to be, and still call ourselves civil, still call ourselves civilized and evolved, we cannot have trust. Trust probably is a godly quality that can never be a part of human beings. Probably in the next phase of evolution, as Sri Aurobindo writes in his book, The Life Divine, the next step of evolution is to become superhumans. Probably when we reach the superhuman stage, when we are bereft of these sickening ideas such as possessiveness, when we are when we are completely devoid of ideas such as owning something, and when we are willing to see others as our own emanations, we will be having something such as trust. Thank you very much, Sneha. I hope I have done justice to your topic. Thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you so much. So I have given 3 demonstrations of 6 minutes or 6 minutes plus, right? So what have I been doing? Getting back here to what I wrote for you. Here you see what I wrote for you. Now you gave me a topic to speak on, and I started speaking on that topic right away. I did not take a moment's pause. Kindly, Sanjay, please mute yourself. I did not take a moment's pause. And why not? Because I'm not supposed to be taking a moment's pause. I'm supposed to be speaking. Did I say everything perfectly? Absolutely not. Did I make grammatical mistakes? Absolutely yes. Did I say sentences incorrectly? Did I use sentence structures which are not pretty? The answer is absolutely yes. Have I been using digressions in my speech? Absolutely yes. Have I been speaking incorrectly for rather longish periods of time? The answer is absolutely yes. But have I been shirking away from the speech? Absolutely no. I didn't give a damn to who is going to think what about me. All I had to do was to speak and speak and speak and speak and speak. Right? So you will also be doing the same, just the way Mossy is keep piecing and piecing and piecing and piecing and piecing. You will have to do speaking and speaking and speaking and speaking and speaking. There is absolutely no scope for taking a pause. Speak, 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 speak. All right? Now, with that said, let me tell you that there are other demonstrations of spontaneous speeches that I've given. And probably I will upload one of the videos that I recorded with my previous batch, the batch that preceded you, that is. And there also some very interesting topics came my way. One of my colleagues called Surinder had given me the topic of dark tunnel to speak on, and I enjoyed speaking on that topic. The fancier the topic, the greater enjoyment I derive, the greater enjoyment I get in making a speech on that topic. And you, my dear friends, will do the same, right? You also ought to practice this. Now, you might be wondering as to what you should be doing if you have no idea about a topic. There are 2 things you must be thinking, or you must be worried about. One is, how can I speak in English how can I make a proper speech in English given the fact that I do not speak English well? That is the first doubt. And the second doubt is, what do I do if I have no idea about the topic? Please do not give me such sickening excuses, right? You can still make a speech. I'll take you back to your school days. Remember what poor, old, and the lady who walked with a bulge used to say to us? She was our grammar teacher, Miss Lily. Remember Miss Lily? Miss Lily used to say that the way to perfection is imperfection. And the way to good speech is bad speech. The way to good grammar is bad grammar. Well, very few such Miss Lilies exist actually. Most Lilies will tell you, hey, your grammar is poor. Now, come on. You ought to behave yourself, boy. You ought to behave yourself, girl. Look, what the hell are you doing on these notebooks? You are writing such poor grammar. Your sentences actually speak of ignorance. They are such stingy sentences. Doesn't matter what kind of a Miss Lily you got, right? If you got the first kind of lily, you should feel inspired because you got a good teacher. And if you got the second kind of lily, you should still feel inspired because that lily did not teach you anything. So you ought to become your own guru. Of course, somewhat aided by this teacher of yours sitting over here and talking to you. Please make sure that you speak on a subject, even if you understand nothing about it. Now, this Miss Lily, whether she was the first Miss Lily or the second Miss Lily, would often give us exercises of making sentences with words or expressions. Probably she had asked you to make a sentence with the expression sunrise. And you might have made a sentence such as, the sun rises in the east, or sunrise is so beautiful to watch. When during sunrise, the sky turns crimson. Might have used your creativity to frame your sentences. Or you might have been given an expression such as, say, ocean. And you might have said something like, I love the sight of Indian Ocean. I absolutely loved going to the beaches alongside, at the beaches which mark the coastline of the Arabian Sea. I love to be moving inside the ocean inside the oceans in my imagination. I have been lucky enough to have a cruise over the most feared oceans on earth. I have been lucky to see the Atlantic Ocean. You can say anything. You can make any sentence, right? Then you might have made your sentences. Now, when you make such sentences with words, the meaning of the word is apparent. It is clear. When I say sunrise happens in the east direction, I do give a very clear clue to the listener as to what I'm trying to say. I'm trying to say that sunrise is a phenomenon that happens in the east, right? So if you have some idea as to what is sun and what is rise, then you probably will be able to make out, even if your English is pathetic, say, you will still be able to understand if I make a sentence such as sun rises in the east or sunrise happens in the east. But what if I choose a word such as tenebrosity or tenebrous? Tenebrous, tenebrous. Which of you know the meaning of tenebrous? I'm sure some of you might be knowing. Anybody? Don't check your Google. Don't check your Google. No. Google is not allowed. Guru Google is prohibited from entering the class. Do not check the Google. Okay. Tenebrous means dark, tremendously dark. And you could, if you know the meaning, you could probably come up with a sentence such as, the tenebrous conditions in the dusk frightened me. Or you could say, I'm afraid of tenebrous conditions. The tenebrous forests are not good to visit. Or you could say, this man looks very good, but actually his mind is full of tenebrosity. That is, from within, he's not good. Anything and everything. But you can make such sentences, you can frame such sentences when you understand what is the meaning of tenebrosity, or you understand what is the meaning of tenebrous. What if you do not understand what is tenebrous? What do you do then? Can you still make a sentence? If the teacher says, well, make a sentence with the expression tenebrosity. Even if you don't know what it means, you can say something like, well, my teacher asked me to make a sentence with tenebrosity, and that's a sentence itself. Or you could say, I do not know the meaning of tenebrosity. Even that is a sentence. You could even say something like, tenebrosity is a ghastly word. That is also a sentence. I saw tenebrosity written on the whiteboard. Even that is a sentence. And all these sentences are correct. But none of these sentences make the meaning of the word tenebrous or tenebrosity evident. You cannot possibly make out what is the meaning of tenebrosity or tenebrous by listening to these sentences. But they're sentences nonetheless. Just the way you can make sentences with words or expressions, the meanings of which are not known to you. You can make speeches with the topics which are unintelligible to you, which are not known to you. Now, one of these participants, say Nitesh or Pranjal or Sneha, had given me a topic, say, a dangerous topic. Something like, say DNA replication. Right. I understand nothing about DNA replication. So how do I make a speech on it? Well, I could start this way, and I'll also demonstrate to you how you can use nothing is striking me when you are running short of ideas. Okay? So, I start. Well, I have been asked to speak on DNA replication. I do not quite understand. What do I have to say? Well, people talk about DNA fingerprinting. People talk about DNA matching. But what is this DNA? Does DNA have something to do with the sequence of letters? I'm sure it is not that way. Probably DNA is some kind of a biological component about which I have no idea. DNA is inside the cells? Is it so? Or DNA is also used in an abstract sense, in a sense so as to beautify the literary expressions. I've heard people say, it is not in your DNA to do such a great thing. Nothing is striking me, nothing is striking me, nothing is striking me, nothing is striking me, nothing is striking me. Well, I'll never forgive Sneha for giving me a topic such as DNA replication. Probably she knew that I would get fixed with this topic, and that is why she chose this topic for me. And now you should see what kind of jitters I'm having inside my body. My heartbeat is on a rise. My limbs are trembling, and I'm already feeling so giddy. I probably would fall with all this load of anxiety on the top of my head. Nothing is striking me, nothing is striking me, nothing is striking me, nothing is striking me, nothing is striking me. Well, how do I deal with the anxiety? Do I ask DNA replication to come and deal with this anxiety? Probably the DNA will say, whatever DNA happens to be, that I'm not concerned about your anxiety. Deal with your anxiety itself. Deal with your anxiety yourself. See, I'm going wrong with my English also because you have loaded me with so much of tension. And then I begin to wonder, does anxiety also have some kind of a DNA? Nothing is striking me, nothing is striking me, nothing is striking me, nothing is striking me. Well, maybe yes. Probably there is something such as tangible DNA and something such as intangible DNA. Now, tangible DNA is the kind of DNA that you would expect to touch. Well, you cannot touch them by looking at them with your naked eyes for sure. You'll have to place them under an electron microscope. DNAs are not visible to the naked eye, my friend. Nothing is striking me, nothing is striking me, nothing is striking me, nothing is striking me, nothing is striking me. Okay, fine. So let's talk about the intangible DNA. This intangible DNA is what plagues girls like Sneha. She could have taken some other topic, some simple topic on which I would have found my life very comfortable. But she chose DNA replication because she knew that that is how she could put my DNAs into peril. And now you should look at my cytoplasmic activities, how the DNA replication has stopped and the regenerative and the degenerative process of the cells have stopped altogether. My involuntary actions inside the body have come to a knot. Sneha, how do I forgive you? Tell me. Nothing is striking me, nothing is striking me, nothing is striking me, nothing is striking me, nothing is striking me. If I had the slightest idea that you would give me such a difficult, ghastly, sickening, vampirish topic, then probably I would have gone to a biologist and talked to him or her and got a few lessons on DNA replication. I'm sure I would not understand much of the jargon that he or she would have to offer to me, but still I have to speak on DNA replication because you have given me this topic. Nothing is striking me, nothing is striking me, nothing is striking me, nothing is striking me, nothing is striking me. Now, this DNA replication is such a sweet sounding expression, but the implications are so ghastly. You do not know what is happening inside my body. I probably am getting so much worked out that I probably will jump into this camera and probably enter your realm, and you'll see me into your rooms, all in my sweaty disposition, ready to attack you, because that is the effect of the topic that has happened on me. Well, all fault lies with Sneha. Thank you very much. That is how you have to deal with a topic about which you do not understand anything. I have finished talking on DN replication. Okay, I spoke rubbish, but I spoke. Sneha, no offense meant to you, my dear. It was just in jest that I took your name. I hope you understand that, right?
Yes, sir. Yes.
You understand that? Okay, thank goodness.
Yes.
Okay, so that is how you have to deal with spontaneous speech for topics about which you have the least idea. But do not underestimate your subconscious mind. The subconscious mind is a powerful device. And when you feel that you know nothing about a topic, and when you feel you are very poor with English, you will be surprised when the subconscious mind churns out its surprises for you. You will know how deeply you know about a topic when the topic prima facie appeared to be so ghastly. By the way, the pronunciation is prima facie and not prima facie, right? It is prima facie, prima facie, prima facie, prima facie, not prima facie as many of us pronounce it. All right. So, your subconscious mind will also be surprising you by showing you how good your English is. Right now, you might feel that your English is not good, but when you begin to speak, you will see that you are actually doing a decent job, right? Even if you cannot speak a word after a topic is given, say nothing is striking me, nothing is striking me, nothing is striking me, nothing is striking me, nothing is striking me for 6 minutes on the trot. Even that will do. But never stop. There should not be a single moment of pause. Speak, 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 speak. Whenever you stop, think of Mosiji. Mosiji, think of Mosiji, how Mosiji was doing chakki piecing and piecing and piecing and piecing and piecing. You have to be doing speaking and speaking and speaking and speaking and speaking. You could call me, you could liken me to a jailer, to a ghastly jailer who does a lot of chakki piecing on the minds of the prisoners. Well, think of me as anything. You are allowed to attach all kinds of negative and villainous nomenclatures and titles to me. No problem. And I will force you to speak, right? And see how you improve. So, another thing that I want to make very clear now, it is not going to be easy for you to practice, you know. When you begin to practice this method, there will be people around you. Your loved ones, most of all. These loved ones are your loved ones, I do understand. And these loved ones can actually get very ghastly. They can do things to you which are not going to be very good for you, and they would be detrimental to your interests. They could be saying things to you which would be very, very bad and discouraging to hear. But they will be saying such things nonetheless. Your so-called loved ones are worthy of love, I understand. But when they see you doing something new, what will they say? Hey girl, hey boy, you were okay till yesterday. What kind of a devil has gone unto you? What are you doing now? Who are you speaking to? Are you talking to God? Are you having a communion with yourself? What kind of stupid activities are you doing? Do you think this is actually going to improve your English? Yeah, you've gone crazy. You've gone berserk, man. You have gone berserk, girl. What are you doing? Now, these loved ones are very lovable. But for the next 6 months, you would do yourself a world of good if you choose not to listen to those loving commentaries of your loved ones. I'm not suggesting you stop loving them. Have immense love and respect and admiration for them. But do not take negative cues, because in the act of doing good to you, they might pass on some negative cues to you, and you will not be very happy if you act on such negative suggestions. If you do that, well, your rate of improvement will go down. Likewise, your friends and colleagues, my goodness, if you allow me to speak in Hindi, अबे क्या हो गया है तुझे? कर तक तो सब कुछ ठीक था. किसने क्या भर दिया है माइंड में तेरे? ये क्या कर रहा है? ये क्या कर रही है? सब कुछ ठीक था कल तक. तो किससे बोल रहा है? ऐसे अंग्रेजी सुधारेगा, और इस उम्र में अंग्रेजी सुधार के होगा क्या? All these wonderful friends of yours. Friends are wonderful. Okay, friends are wonderful. Yes, friends can be wonderful sometimes. But friends come up with the most disastrous and dangerous propositions. Don't listen to them if they ask you, if they say such stupid negative things to you. If they act like skeptics and prevent you from practicing, don't let that happen. Don't let that happen. Let nothing come between you and your practice. And I'll now suggest a simple solution to all the problems that you might have when you are practicing spontaneous speech. You know, each one of you has this device called the mobile. What do we use it for? For talking? Probably, yes, talking is also a purpose, but we keep fiddling with it, right? We keep fiddling with it. But say you do some play acting with the limited purpose of the mobile, which happens to be talking, which was supposed to be its primal purpose, has become one of the ancillary purposes of the mobile phone, of the smartphone. So what you have to do is to put this mobile phone next to your ear. Well, for goodness sake, don't ask me left ear or right ear. I'll not forgive you for that question. Any ear, my dear friend. Okay. Press it against a ear and practice your spontaneous speech. People will still look at you and say, hey, look, this person probably is very troubled. He or she is speaking to somebody continuously. Probably he or she is hurt. Something or the other they'll think. Let them think. And then when you do it every day, their empathetic approach might grow in magnitude, and they may approach you and say, is something wrong? Are you having some problem with your partner? And just give them a look and say, well, these are personal issues. Let me deal with them. And go away, right? So this mobile phone may bail you out of troubles. Do not underestimate the power of the mobile phone. It can be a great weapon in your hands for doing spontaneous speech practice. So that is the first technique I wanted to discuss with you. Now, which of you would like to demonstrate spontaneous speech now? Any takers for the spontaneous speech today? Come on, raise your hands, be volunteers. Don't worry, I have kept all kinds of simple topics with me. You can think of topics such as nothingness. You can think of topics such as Martians invading Earth. You can be thinking of complex topics such as trust, my goodness sake, right? It is my time to avenge all that, right? So which of you would like to take the charge? I'm all ready with a barrage of topics. Who would like to take the challenge? All
Sir,
right.
I can try.
Okay, Abhik. You are a brave boy, right? But I'll give you some sucker for today. I'll not give you the topic today, or for that purpose, I'll not give the topic to anybody today, because we are actually touching the end time, and I don't want to drag you beyond that time. Already we are late because I told you it's going to be a longish class. Please be on the camera, all of you. Be on the camera. Manisha, Seema, Vishal, Rajesh, Pranjal, everybody. Pranjal has issues with internet. Pallavi, be on the camera if it is possible. I know you might be on the in the train, on the train. Okay, you've already entered the train. Okay, great. No demonstration from your side today, but I will give you a topic for doing spontaneous speech on the forum tomorrow early in the morning. For those friends who are watching this lesson as a video, they will also be getting a topic in the description. In the description of this YouTube video, you will have a topic. You can practice on that topic if you are following these lessons as a series of video lessons. And for the live participants, you will have a topic on the WhatsApp forum in the morning. Don't worry. I will write it in a manner so that you do not get to know what the topic is, because the idea is to begin to speak on the topic the moment you get the topic. You are not supposed to form any preconceived ideas, any thoughts on the topic. The moment the topic is given, you have to start speaking on it. So I will write a passage for you, a sweet, lovely passage, trying to cushion up your fears. And I will place the topic at the bottom of that message so that when you look through the display screen, you don't read the message, because all WhatsApp messages show themselves as displays. So by looking at the display, you will not know what the topic for spontaneous is. Only after you open the WhatsApp forum, you will get to see what the topic is, right? But I would still want you to give a big hand, give a huge round of applause for our hero, Abhik. And I'm not saying this because both of us are Bengalis. He's really a very brave boy. Give him a huge round of applause, please. Arey, don't be stingy with your applauses. I want to hear some good claps. Okay. What is this? What is this? Is it clapping? Then just tap the finger on the hand, clap like this. Do like this. Unmute yourselves. Unmute yourselves. All right, all right. That is for you, my dear. That is for Abhik. All right. So I catch up with you tomorrow at 8:30 p.m. sharp. Tomorrow is a holiday. Relax in the morning. But remember, you have to do one spontaneous speech a day from tomorrow till the very end of this. Please mute your mics now. Look at this strange phenomenon. When I ask you to mute your mics, you will keep them open. And when I ask you to unmute them and clap, at the time there is a total spree of silence. Anyway, I hope that I'm just pulling your leg. It's just in jest, okay? All right. So tomorrow you'll have your first topic for spontaneous speech. And I dare you, practice it. Keep it to yourself if you want. You can share it with me. The second level of courage will be sharing it only with me. And the third level of courage would be sharing it on the forum for everybody to hear. By the way, tomorrow when you come for the session at 8:30 p.m., come with the belt tightened around your waist. Because I have done my spontaneous speech. The Dracula is going to unleash all its terrors on you, my dear participants. So take good care of yourselves. Have a wonderful sleep. I cannot sleep right now because I'll have to edit this video with my team. And I'm doing it so that you all do a wonderful job with English in future. How many of you watched the lesson 1? I have already put it on YouTube. Raise your hands. Do it like this. How many of you have watched the video? Okay. Lekha, haven't you watched? Lekha, have you watched the video?
No, sir,
You haven't watched. Okay.
yes, sir.
Okay. Are you unwell? You are the birthday girl
No,
today.
sir.
Now I
No, sir, it's okay.
say it in the public. Who's this? Who is making such great music? ये संगीतकार कौन है जो किशोर कुमार से भी बेहतर गाना गाता है? आर.डी. बर्मन से भी बेहतर संगीत कंपोज करता है। ये कौन है? ये गौतम बुद्ध स्वरूप का व्यक्ति कौन है? देखूं तो अच्छा, ऐसे व्यक्ति बहुत अधिक समय के लिए रहते नहीं हैं। आकाशवाणियां करके कहीं ना कहीं अदृश्य हो जाते हैं, अब वो दिखेंगे नहीं। बाय द वे, if you do not understand Hindi, my dear friend, I was just doing a joke with my live participants. Okay, don't have to worry about it. It's quite an unimportant thing that I said. All right, so practice what I tell you, the topic that I give you tomorrow in the morning. And yes, all of you now can unmute your mics and wish our very dear Lekha a very happy birthday, and wish for her so that she lives long, lives healthy, and accomplishes the best of things in life. Wish Lekha happy birthday, all of you. Unmute your
Happy
mics.
birthday,
Happy
Lekha.
birthday,
Happy birthday,
Lekha.
dear Lekha.
Happy birthday, Lekha.
Birthday.
Happy birthday,
Thank you,
Lekha.
thank you, thank
Happy
you.
birthday,
You
Lekha.
have a great life.
Happy birthday, Lekha.
Thank you.
The music returns. Okay. Okay. You know, way back, please mute your mics, all of you. Please mute your mics. Please mute your mics. Long back, a movie, the first, Dracula was written. Dracula is a very popular novel. It was written by Bram Stoker way back in 1880s. And it was considered to be a very horrific, a very frightening kind of a novel. In that, when the Count Dracula welcomes one of the central characters to his mansion, that central character gets to hear all kinds of wild noises from the surroundings, noises made by the wolves. And the Dracula just pauses for a while and seems to be enjoying those howlings. And he says, "Ah, these wolves, what lovely music they make," right? So if you keep playing such wonderful music for all of us, we probably will become like the Count of Dracula. Please don't do it. Let us continue to be human beings. And thank you very much, each one of you. All of you are such lovely, great, wonderful participants. Do not worry. Initially, there will be some hiccups, but eventually, everything is going to fall in place. Trust the structure of this course and see where you get. With those words, again, you can unmute your mics and say good night. Good night to all of you.
Good night.
Good
all
night,
of you.
sir.
night,
Good
good
night,
night.
sir. Thank you so
Sir,
much, sir.
Good night,
Good
all
night,
of
sir.
you.
Bye
Good
bye.
night.
Good night.
Good night.
Good
Good
night.
night. Good night.